And welcome to Dogma, the podcast for every dog owner who wants to cut through the confusion and discover what's best for their best friend. It's not about learning the rules, it's about breaking them. It's about tweaking them to make them work for what's right for you and your dog. There is no one size fits all, so learn what works for you. I'm your host, Cindy Scott. I'm an author, holistic dog trainer, behavioral consultant, and mom of 2 human children. I've helped tens of thousands of dogs over the past 25 years, and now I want to help make your best friend the best that they can be. Now let's get at it. Hello, puppy people. Welcome to Dogma. I'm so glad that you're here and checking it out, and I'm excited to be doing these podcasts. I think it's such a great informal way to kind of take all of the stuff rambling around in my head and get it into your head where it can do some help for you and your dog. So anyway, welcome. Today, what I wanted to talk about was one of the biggest mistakes I see not just dog owners make, but just people in general make when it comes to dogs, and that's greeting a dog. How everybody greets a dog is absolutely, not only is it wrong, but it's downright dangerous for them and the dog. And I don't know where this whole myth got started that when you meet a new dog, that the proper thing to do is to shove your hand in the dog's face and let the dog sniff you. For some reason, sniffing you is supposed to tell the dog that you're okay or something. I don't know. But I do know that the reality of the matter is if you stick your hand in a dog's face, you may get bit. That's a really good way to invite a bite. Invite a bite. I'm going to patent that. Because if you don't know this dog, you don't know who they are, you don't know their history, it could be a rescue dog, it could be a fearful dog, it could be an aggressive dog for all you know. And if you stick your hand in their face and are invading their space, sometimes even taking a step closer to another dog, puts the dog on the defensive, and they feel like in order to protect themselves, they have to bite. And that's not good for you, and it's really not good for the dog. Yes, it's going to hurt you, but if the dog owner is overreactive or nervous, or if this dog has bit before, you may have just thrown that dog into quarantine, or maybe worse for the dog. So, it kind of annoys me because it's the dog that's going to have to pay for your ignorance. And so that's why I am here telling you all to stop doing that and to give you the proper way to meet a dog. There are definitely things to do to meet a dog that you don't know. And the first number one step to do when meeting a dog you don't know is to ask the owner if you can say hello. 9 times out of 10, when you're out, the owner's going to be right there. So the polite thing to do is to say, excuse me, can I say hello to your dog? I mean, as a mom, that's the number one thing I teach my kids is to ask permission first. Because again, going back, you don't know that dog. You don't know their history. You don't know. So ask, and maybe it's going back to my Midwest roots, but there is some etiquette about it. It's about being polite and not being presumptuous and just going forward. So absolutely ask the owner, can I pet your dog? Can I say hello to your dog? And if they say no, be respectful. Again, you don't know what's going on with that dog. You don't know what's going on with that owner. So if the owner says, you know what, it's probably not a good idea, then say thank you very much, and you have to admire the dog from afar. And trust me, admiring from afar is not one of my strongest points, but sometimes it's the best thing for the dog. And it's really interesting and frustrating. I run into this so much when I'm out in public working with an owner and their dog in a private session, and it's usually a rescue dog. It's usually some fear-based issue, and we're out positively introducing and pairing positive associations and slowly and gradually doing some systematic desensitization, getting the dog used to some fear-producing stimulus out in the public environment. And more often than not, people just run up and want to say hello to the dog. And I found myself just kind of being a dog bouncer where I have to like push people away and keep people at a distance, especially cute little dogs or unusual looking dogs, where I have to physically, stop people before they get too close to the dog and thereby making the dog afraid, where it feels like it has to be defensive and snap or be reactive or whatever's going on with that individual dog. So I'll stop people and I'll say, you know what, please, keep your distance. We're working on some behavioral issues with this dog, and, your intrusiveness is not in our instruction plan. And it's so interesting to me how many times the reaction that I get from people, they will literally say to me, oh, that's okay. Every dog likes me. I can't tell you how many times I have heard that when I am out working with fearful dogs. Oh, it's okay. They'll like me. All dogs like me. Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but your mom was wrong. You're not that special. And just because you haven't been bit before, that's more due to luck than anything you may be doing personally. So you got to take your ego out of it, and you're not that special. Trust me, my two boys who are the most special things to ever walk this earth, and that's just not my biased opinion. That's fact. That's just science. Even them, like I said before, when they were little, the first thing I taught them was you have to ask permission and be respectful. So if the owner says, no, it's not a good idea, back off and say, thank you very much. Your dog is beautiful. Good luck with your training. Done. Now, if you ask permission and the owner says, yeah, my dog would love that. My dog's super friendly. Come on in. My dog's name is Bojangles or whatever. Then still, number two, you don't want to move forward and assume that that dog wants to meet you. Again, hate to burst your bubble. Mom was wrong. You're not that special. So number two, ask permission of the dog. Ask the dog if he wants to say hello to you. Maybe he's having a bad day. Maybe he's not in the mood. Maybe he'd rather stare at that squirrel off in the park than be bothered by you. So number two is ask the dog. And how do you ask the dog if they want to see you? Well, very easily in a nice, inviting tone of voice, you say, hey, doggy, hi, how are you today? And if the dog approaches and comes to you, guess what? You have your answer. The dog wants to say hello to you. So then you can bend down, say hello, greet the dog. If you say, hey, little doggy, how are you today? And the dog looks at you and doesn't approach you, or if the dog starts backing away, guess what? You got your answer there too. He's not in the mood for you. No offense or anything, but maybe he's got something else going on. So again, say, thank you, little doggy. Have a great day. Bye-bye. And let the dog work out whatever issues he's got going on. Now, bonus would be to make yourself even more inviting. You could, crouch down. The lower you get, the more submissive you are. Again, the more inviting, the more solicitous. So it makes the dog want to approach you more. I often do this when I go see private clients. I'll just, come in and I'll sit down on their living room floor and be as inviting to the dog. And that's my way of kind of connecting to the dog, feeling the dog out, seeing where the dog is. And if the dog, dashes right over to me, I've got my answer. If the dog is more standoffish, I've got my answer there too. And usually I'll do the whole session just sitting on people's floor. I've had, oh my gosh, so many people just look at me and go, you can sit on the furniture. It's okay. But frankly, I don't know. I guess I'm just more comfortable on the floor. But getting down low, being as inviting as possible to put the dog as much at ease as possible. Now, bonus again would be if you wanted to toss a couple treats. See if the dog will come to you for a really good treat. Obviously, once you have permission from the owner that it's okay to give him that treat. And again, you don't want to extend your hand into the dog's face. You want to put your hand, in your perimeter, and then the dog has to come to you. It's all about the dog coming to you, not you encroaching on the dog's space. Other bonus would be not to have eye contact, to avert your gaze, making yourself even more submissive and more solicitous. But if you're at that point and you're just in public and you're not a professional trainer, I wouldn't go to that next level. If you do, level 1 and level 2 and the dog isn't coming to you, I would leave it at that. Averting your gaze and finessing it more, that's more for professionals to kind of gauge the dog's response to that. So when you're out in public and you want to say hello to that dog, you see that cutie patootie little dog, the first thing again, step number 1, just to recap, ask permission. Ask the owner, can I see your dog? And then be respectful of that response. Step number 2 then would be to ask the dog and be respectful of that response. Take your ego out of it. Don't force yourself on that poor little dog because, again, you don't know where they're coming from. You don't know what challenges that dog has physically, emotionally, and that owner as well. Sometimes we're just busy. Sometimes, we're having other things going on, and it's just not a good time. So next time you're out in public, next time you see a cute little dog, remember the steps. Step number 1, ask permission. Ask the owner's permission. Step number 2, ask the dog's permission. And when in doubt, see steps 1 and 2. So anyway, thank you so much for listening to my ramblings today. And I hope you got some information out of this, and you will put it into place next time you see a cute little dog that you want to meet. And remember to check out our next podcast. Please subscribe, and please email me if you have ideas for other podcasts or other things that you'd like me to talk about. Cindy at thedogsetc.com is my email. And of course, please check out my website, myzendog.com, for more info on everything that I do and more tips and tricks and so forth. And we will see you next time. Thanks again for checking out Dogma, the place to learn what you need to learn to make your dog the best that they can be. Till next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.